Have you ever felt this? Your heart is so wide open it can hold the entire world's sorrow. Yet when you're exhausted, the silence feels deafening? You listen, you understand, you soothe. But when you need to be heard, no one truly knocks on the door of your soul. If you're an empath, that ache is not coincidence. It is the ancient echo of childhood teaching you that your safety lies in how much you can save everyone else. Here is the gentle yet piercing truth. It's not because you're unlovable. It's not because the world is heartless. It's because, at an age far too young to choose, you were quietly trained to believe that your worth equals only how much you can care for everyone around you. That belief crept in like roots breaking through the soil of your soul until it became part of your very breath. Carl Jung saw this pattern over and over in people who arrived at his door with weary hearts. Children raised in homes that were never calm, where parents erupted, withdrew, or disappeared emotionally, were unknowingly recruited as guardians of the family mood. They learned to read every tremor in the air, every sigh, every silence pregnant with storm. If this story resonates in your chest, maybe it's time we walk further together. Turn on the notification bell and join the Metacita channel, not just to receive insights, but to help grow a safe space for many other souls looking for home. Let's care for each other, starting with the small awareness we build together. Picture a small child who should be playing under sunlight, but whose eyes are busy scanning parents' faces, searching for signs of the coming storm. Instead of crying when hurt, they swallow tears because crying makes things worse. Instead of anger, they learn to smile because anger triggers explosions. They become tiny mediators, emotional sponges, plugging holes the adults never admit exist. To survive emotionally, they have to set themselves aside. The need to be heard, held, seen, all of it buried deep. What remains is a mask of premature maturity, forced calm, and extraordinary sensitivity to others' feelings. Thus, the adult empath is born, someone who can read others' emotional waves far clearer than their own. But Jung gently reminds us, what you reject from consciousness never truly leaves. It lives on in the shadow, and the empath's shadow whispers very softly, "If I stop caring for you, I will be abandoned. I am only valuable when I am useful." Endless giving is not pure goodness. It is a survival strategy that once saved a child's inner life. But in adulthood, it turns into a trap. The more you give, the more comfortable people become taking. The more you hide your wounds, the more the world believes you're never wounded. Jung worked with patients who collapsed under this imbalance. Behind their kind smiles lived a gnawing sense of being unseen, unspoken resentment, and a deepening emptiness. He helped them face the hard truth. Compulsive caretaking is not always love, it is also fear. Fear of rejection, fear of irrelevance, fear of silence if we stop being the one who's always there. Interestingly, many empaths are magnetized to healing professions, therapists, nurses, spiritual guides. It makes sense. They have been practicing saving people since childhood. But Jung noticed a heartbreaking pattern. Their identity often completely merges with the rescuer role until they forget who they are when no one needs saving. That's why, at some point, many empaths suddenly walk away from those paths. They don't stop caring. They finally hear the scream of the starved inner child. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Carl Jung. In adult life, the pattern repeats in lopsided relationships. Empaths pour oceans of love, time, and energy, yet receive only drops in return. Not always because partners or friends are selfish, more often because empaths have been trained to tolerate imbalance, because neglect feels familiar, feels like home. Without realizing it, our unconscious pulls us back to unhealed wounds. So we choose partners, friends, or bosses who replay the old script. I will give everything. Maybe this time you'll finally see me. But over time, exhaustion piles up. Tiny resentments grow in the corners of the heart, and the need to be cared for stays hidden behind the mask of "I'm fine." At work, it's the same. Empaths often become the team's emotional buffer, the one who listens to complaints, prevents conflict, keeps harmony. But that role is invisible to systems. Promotions go to the loud, not the quietly holding. Because you never truly opened it, you smile when your heart cracks. You say, "I'm okay," when you want to cry. You offer your shoulder when your own shoulders are already too heavy. People can only respond to what you show. And you, since childhood, have become an expert at hiding. Modern psychology calls it fawning, the fourth trauma response after fight, flight, freeze. Instead of fighting or fleeing, the child survives by people-pleasing. In adulthood, setting boundaries feels like an existential threat. If I stop giving, I will be abandoned. Ironically, boundless giving sometimes pushes people away. Because when you take over all emotional responsibility for others, you unconsciously send the message, "I don't trust you're strong enough to handle your own life." And that unspoken message feels suffocating. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Carl Jung. One day, the exhaustion becomes too heavy to ignore. The small resentments turn into a loud cry from the soul. What about me? When is it my turn to be loved just as I am? Not because I'm useful. That is the moment Jungian individuation begins. The journey home to the true self, not the role forced by childhood. Individuation demands we embrace the shadow, the swallowed anger, the longing to be cared for, the desires labeled selfish, the need for rest. Jung said with tenderness, "The part of you that you reject is not your enemy. It is the missing piece of your wholeness." So many empaths who wake up suddenly leave healing professions, open art studios, write books, or simply learn to dance again. To the outside world, it looks like throwing away talent. To them, it is rebirth. You are not just empathy. You are a whole human with dreams, boundaries, creativity, darkness, and light. Practical steps towards self-receiving. 1. Gently acknowledge the shadow. Sometimes I help because I'm afraid of rejection. Acknowledging is not judging. It's the first step to freedom. 2. Practice small, safe, notice. The world doesn't collapse when you protect your energy. People often respect you more. 3. Learn to receive help when someone offers. Don't rush to say, "I'm fine." Try, "Thank you, I really do need this." Receiving is a muscle. 4. Reclaim joy that isn't about saving anyone. What makes you feel alive without being useful? Dancing alone, writing poetry, gardening, That is a small prayer for the long-starved soul. 5. Seek reciprocal relationships where giving and receiving flow both ways, where you're allowed to be tired without apologizing. One of Jung's patients finally said through tears, "My deepest wound wasn't that others didn't care, it was that I never allowed them to care." When she finally opened the door and said, "I need care too," for the first time in decades, she was touched. We have walked together through the empath as wound, the forced caretaker role from childhood, the survival strategy turned gilded cage, the starving shadow holding our deepest needs, and the path home through individuation and self-receiving. This is not about stopping caring. It's about finally including yourself in the circle of love you have so generously given to the world. You deserve care. You deserve to be heard. You deserve to live whole, not just useful. Now, let me ask gently, what one part of you have you buried because you were too busy caring for others? Share in the comments, whether it's a story, an insight, or simply the affirmation, "My needs matter." You are not alone. If this reflection touched you, share this video with one person you know is tired of being the strong one. And let's stay connected. Hit subscribe, turn on the Metacita bell, so we can keep growing together, one awareness at a time, toward a gentler world that truly cares, starting with ourselves. Thank you for daring to show up fully today. You are deeply valuable, exactly as you are.